Hello, folks. Welcome back to the desk. It's your boy F. Dot, and that's my boy Anatoly. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm just excited for some SCL in the European region.
Yeah, we've done a lot of the SPL. We've done North America. We've done Europe. This is your first time really approaching the console scene. Before you jumped on board, were you following it at all or no?
A little bit here and there, my boy El Chapu is
Yep.
there, so yeah, a little bit. Not so much on the EU side of things, though.
Yeah, the North American side has been loud and proud. Europe, on the other hand, a little bit quiet when it comes to the teams and everything around it. But with that in mind, what we've got today, the qualifiers are already over. The teams are already set and done. They understand who's coming out. This is a show match. This is just to showcase the talent level of the players
But
here.
it's still serious because there's gems on the line, and sometimes some people will play harder for gems than actually money. You want those skins, you got to earn them.
Exactly. I mean, this is, like we said, the league will start later. This is just a show match. Not the league. Not the league. Not the league. Just a show match. I
Not
mean,
the-
we're
not the
talking
league-
about a show match.
Not
here.
the league that people play for and die for and sweat blood and tears for.
Right.
No.
Not a league.
Not a
Not a
league.
league. Not a league. We're talking about a show match. We've got Barrage versus Rival for you coming up. Let's take a look at picks and bans right now. No further ado. Let's get into it. Left side, Barrage. Right side, Team Rival. And we'll see how this one comes down.
Some teams will look to do specific strategies for global pressure. In the SCL specifically, we might see more of the Odins, the Medusas for the console players. Those two gods specifically are highly contested.
Kepri, Kepri, Kepri. Just always, whether it's console, PC, or anywhere in between, Kepri is just a very powerful god. Soul, lots of clear available for her as well. And the Ao Kuang has just been very bursty. And of course, there's that Guan Yu, everybody's favorite assault rifle of healing.
We've seen a lot of Guan Yu today in the SPL. I'm surprised that it's banned away here in the SCL. Neith gonna get first picked by Barrage.
Yeah, Neith is a flex character. She's very powerful. Barrage really enjoys her. Just the global rotation's able to shut that down. Chronos, on the other hand, for Team Rival, not quite global. That's Thor's job. Chronos will be more about just in your face, looking for the kills late game.
And Thor sets up Chronos really well with a Tectonic Rift, followed up by that Time Rift from Chronos. You can't deny the damage coming out of those two. Meanwhile, Barrage leaning more towards the global pressure. You have the Neith already and the Athena for the support. Now leaning towards the Bakasura. Could go jungle, could go solo. We're not quite sure yet.
Vamana will be selected now. That one definitely going to go for the solo lane. I don't really think Vamana has a spot anywhere else on the map. So just taking a look, Chronos, Thor, and Vamana, you've got a lot of standard gods here. Not really any trickery, just this is what we do and we're looking to fight. Barrage, on the other hand, they've got a couple of globals up their sleeve, so take a look at what's going on over there. Geb, banned out by Barrage. They're well aware that Team Rival doesn't have their support, whereas Team Rival understand that they don't have a mid or a spot that Scylla would go in.
They're really afraid of the taunt setup for the Scylla, banning that away, the late game damage coming out of the Scylla. They don't want to be matched on the Chronos specifically, so they're going to take Scylla off the table, forcing them to go for a different route.
The Bacchus ban for out of Barrage is interesting. Team Rival with that knockup might be able to burst down somebody before they can really respond, whereas Sobek is a little bit in the opposite direction. Instead of looking for the burst, you're looking for the disposition and try to find the damage onto a player that's been flipped backwards.
And right off the bat, Barrage leaning more towards their global pressure, picking up Janus and securing their jungle pick on the Hunbat. So it is going to be indeed Bakasura in the solo lane, Janus in the middle, complemented with the Hunbats in the jungle position. Apollo locked in last for Team Rival.
And that almost had to go that direction. With how much global repositionment Barrage has, Athena, Janus, and Neith are all going to be, Neith to a lesser extent, but still in the same conversation. They're all going to be able to go anywhere they want at a moment's notice. All you really have is Thor, who's halfway there. Apollo's the one that's going to be able to follow up and respond and actually mitigate any sort of damage that Barrage is able to deal with these globals. Barrage looking to travel all around the world. Team Rival coming for the face. Let's get into game.
So we see we're following the Bakasura into the jungle, followed by the Hunbats. They have a pretty aggressive 2v2 if they ever decide to go aggressive. And we do see an early sprint out of him, so maybe that's a strategy they're going to do the mid-harpies, potentially steal the blue buff following up.
And there's that multi-pot that you were talking about that solo laners frequently pick up instead of the blue. You already have the blue buff, so what the multi-pot does is it amplifies that, but more importantly, it gives you two separate systems of health ticking up, and you're able to be a little bit more aggressive.
Especially when you're Bakasura with the Deathstone with the Eat minion, you're just adding more sustain on top of that, so you're going to be able to trade.
And Watson is a extremely aggressive player. We've watched him throughout the qualifiers here, and Watson has at one point been sort of the standout player in Europe on the console scene. These days, some players have caught up to him, but he's still a very good he's still a very good pilot. With that said, he has focused more on the warriors than anything else. So this swap over to the Bakasura instead of his traditional Bologna or some of the more tanky characters should be interesting. We watched Snoopy in the SPL make this switch, and it wasn't so positive.
Unfortunately for Snoopy, he elected to do a little bit of an awkward build with a throwing dagger.
Right.
He had Anister try to do an early level 2 gank, and that's kind of why it didn't pan out for him. However, in this situation, when you leave Bakasura alone, just to be able to farm and sustain and out-trade the Vamana early on, then he's going to be in a position where he can consistently take the Fire Giant Imps, the Boar with his Eat minion, and then just run Rampage, maybe make a level 5 play.
Left side already getting very aggressive. Aw is going to go ahead and mitigate some of the wounds that Jeron is taking. You like that? You like that Hercules reference?
A little bit. A little bit. I've seen a little bit of Hercules in my days. And in the mid lane, Berserker Barrage being used to clear the wave as Unstable Vortex was exchanged. And not much going on. Both mid Harpies are down. Surprisingly, the Bakasura left those Fire Giant minions up still. As you can see, he clears the wave first, but now he has to extend that advantage by getting those imps.
And now that'll change as this right side will change as the Vamana levels up. And look at what Rival does. I enjoyed this. They understand that Bakasura is going to be pushing up and getting that. And as you said, he's got to transition that advantage into the imps. Rival says no way.
Yeah, but before the imps were down, looking at the minimap before, the Bakasura actually stole the boar away from the Vamana and then proceeded to get his own boar. So he elected to go for the faster clear, which was the Eat minion on the board, because with the recent patch changes, the Eat minion takes boars away, takes the mid Harpies away right away. You don't have to wait for that executable threshold.
Right, just on good old 100%. So Bakasura versus the Vamana should go interestingly. The long lane, though, the classic Athena Neith versus the classic Apollo Sobek. These are some 2012 compositions here.
Yeah, and the only difference is the fact that Transcendence hold that thought. Sobek's going to get a pluck onto Neith, doing a little bit of poke, not going to find the kill.
A lot of bit of poke as Sobek joins the party, but the Mez out of Apollo not going to make it happen.
And with Neith going Transcendence 2 and her Unravel on top, allowing her to have more potions than the Apollo's Throwing Dagger should mitigate a lot of the poke there. So she's not in a position that she has to be worried about at all.
Mid lane with the Janus versus the Chronos, and of course amplified by the junglers, both Thor and Batz. Backwards, respectively, honestly. These guys are, this is an interesting matchup. Nothing really sticks out to me. Usually we see like a Thor Isis, it's very easy to say this is clearly going to have the early game victory. Janus and Chronos both mid to late game, and then Batz and Thor, again, more level 5 mid to late game type stuff.
Exactly. The only difference here is the global pressure that the Thor can provide for you, whereas there's an AoE CC coming out of the Batz.
Yeah,
that's the biggest difference.
Thor is obviously more early game, early to mid game, I should say. Definitely not a mid to late game god. Late game, he turns into more of the warrior that he used to be classed as. So early game, I mean, are you really looking for it? Rival has the Thor to lean on, but the Chronos is not as early.
Definitely not as early, but as long as you have the Thor to be able to peel for you, then you don't have to worry about the early deficit that you had. Right side mid Harpy is going to Barrage.
So Watson with the smart rotation over there, as you pointed out. So when we're looking at this mid, nobody's really going to win too hard. I don't expect to see much violence because of the fact that, you know, both of these mages want to make it to the mid and late game. Janus can do some damage, as can Thor early on, but realistically with the composition, it's more spread out.
We do have an engage. Athena gets plucked into the stun.
And there's the ultimate out of Batz. Love the ult out of Neith to sort of pause what's going on. Thor takes to the sky. Ooh, poor portal out of Elexum, but it's all good. He'll get out of there, no problem. Here comes Watson. Rotation all the way from the short side. Level 7 on the Bakasura. And Athena's going to ult in as well. Barrage wanted to go all in there, but Rival denied them the opportunity.
Off of that, the Athena's going to dash, forcing the purification out of Chronos. Sobek's not going to take too much damage as he retreats to tower. Now, off of that rotation, that was a nice idea. The Chronos ultimate was used in response. However, he lost a wave, and the Vamana's able to come back into the farm a little bit. He was down about 200 gold before that rotation, and now he's caught up a little bit, only down about 70 gold.
So Watson, and that's something that, I mean, solo laners, it's sort of like, You sort of earn that currency, right? You get ahead, and you say, okay, I'm a wave ahead, I'm 2 waves ahead, so I can trade that for a rotation, and you want to make use of it. How bad, how bad does this feel for Watson, or is that all part of the conversation?
It's not the worst thing in the world because the tower's still standing. It took maybe 5 to 10% poke. He didn't lose his blue buff or board, so nothing was lost other than the 200 gold advantage that he had. He could still look for a play on the Vamana with his ultimate, and being able to chase him down with a sprint is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I like seeing solo laners utilize their lead, not just in the lane, but to sacrifice that wave. Okay, I have 200 gold up, which means I can lose a wave, and when I come back, I'll still be even, and that's okay. If I make something off of it, then I'll be ahead, and that's wonderful. But just showing up, and like I said, Rival played that very intelligently, not allowing Barrage to go all in like they clearly wanted with a solo rotation and an Athena ult. Everybody go away because they're 5-on-3 here.
Yeah, and the Chronos was able to safely defensively ulti away back under his tier 1 mid tower. So at the end of the day, everything is nice and kosher for Team Rival.
5 minutes, still no kills, despite a lot of aggression and violence coming out from both of these teams. The Bakasura gets knocked up as soon as he activates Butcher Blades. Very smart play by Vamana.
And that's a good idea to always dash through the Bakasura as the Butcher Blades get activated. Apollo having to dash away. Really low. World Weaver being channeled.
And Neith is going to find the kill. Jeron puts his team on the map 1-0. Response gank coming out of Rival. There comes Thor. But quick ultimate out of Awe. Smart turnaround.
Good recognition that the Thor was in the sky, that the Sobek was waiting for the Athena to retreat as well. Just not hesitating on the ultimate. That was her only possible escape. Knew it, executed it.
1 kill to none. Barrage sitting up pretty right now, and Watson also looking to do the same over there in the solo lane. Another taunt on the long side, and Hydra will take 1 tick of the shield wall, not the second. But here comes the Sobek. Backflip already down. Sobek turns around and starts looking at Athena. 3 members of Team Rival here. Flip onto Awe. He's slowed. He's stunned. He's done. Put a fork in him. Not quite. He finds a way out, but Hydra seals the deal. Monkey gets away. So that's a 1 for none, but a huge rotation. 4 players make their way over to the duo lane.
Trading the Sobek ulti for the Athena was really good there in this position right now. Looks like a lot of aggression. That Unstable Vortex chunking the Thor, so he's going to retreat. Off of that pick, they're not able to really find anything as everything is down. They might look to do Gold Fury if they have the vision control, but it doesn't look like they want to do this. The Thor did back to base. They're going to look to keep on farming as they go back to the mid lane.
Watson had fallen a little bit behind. He fell about 100 gold behind of this Vamana, but keeping with the Bakasura and what Bakasura brings, he's able to invade the enemy boar pretty much just for free. It's guaranteed you're going to eat it, and that's what makes Bakasura interesting, is that he's guaranteed that boar. No questions asked.
In the early game, it's a big advantage to Bakasura for that reason, but as it becomes the mid game where the Vamana starts maxing his 2nd and 3rd ability, now the Vamana can clear the way very fast, very easily, and poke the Bakasura out at the same time with his Armored Umbrella. So that's where the advantage starts to turn once this Vamana becomes level 11 and 12 and gets his Breastplate of Valor online. Yeah,
that burst coming out from Vamana is easy to underestimate. You knock somebody up with the clear the path, and you cancel it real quick to combine your Armored Umbrella and Umbrella Rang, and you combine a couple of basics, all of a sudden, that Bakasura is sitting at 20% HP, and it's easy to seal the deal. So look for Vamana to get a little bit more aggressive as this lane goes on. Right now, it's the opposite, though. Bakasura getting aggressive, forcing the enemy into the ultimate. Gnome going to be fine underneath his tower. Not quite. There's the Neith ult. Is it enough? From afar. It gets intercepted.
Nope, not quite enough. The Vamana was sustaining quite a lot of health there. Whenever you get hit multiple times, your ultimate lifetime increases, and with the Bakasura minions consistently hitting him, it allowed the Vamana to keep on chunking.
That's interesting. So Zenborne was the only one not 100% HP, and clearly he's not at this point. Jeron takes him out. Down from the sky comes Hydra, looking for the kill onto the jungler is Barrage, and it's the Hunter to separate everyone. Headhunter takes out Elexum, still dealing out these basics. All he's got is boots and a throwing dagger, but he's still able to find the kills.
And he also had a dream as he came landing down on 3 members from Barrage, also securing the kill onto the Janus. That was a very nice play coming out of Headhunter. As we see the Hunbats backing to base right now. The right side mid Harpies are started from Bakasura. Just going to eat a minion. Clear that as the Vamana's just going to walk away very sad.
Yeah, so Baka over here. He's level 12. He's not finding that natural advantage that we're really used to seeing out of Bakasura. He's being very aggressive, and I like that. But not able to find the kills and really extend his lead.
So we were talking about the Breastplate of Valor at Hold That Thought as the Athena does get plucked.
Stunned out, and one more time, there's the Chronos. Not able to get the ultimate off this time. Last time, she still died, but you got the ultimate off. This time, a lot more burst coming the way of Athena. Watson blows his ult for seemingly nothing.
Yeah, we were talking about the Breastplate of Valor earlier. It's actually going to be the Hide of Nemean line that was finished instead. If you look at the gods from Rival, I'm sorry, if you look at the gods from Barrage, they have Hunbats and the Neith on top of the Bakasura. So having Hide of Nemean line is a pretty good call for the Vamana.
Yeah, and Hunbats isn't necessarily a basic attack character, but clearly that passive will certainly come into play. A couple of big crits will hurt, but it will also hurt on the return around from that Nemean Lion. So Vamana able to utilize that. And of course, when you're a Vamana, anytime you're able to sink a lot of money into physical protection, you're totally okay with it because of the passive.
Barrage going to start the Gulf here around the 11-minute mark. Thor's going to go in the air.
Baka's here as well. Thor lands on 2. Jeron takes a big chunk. So does Elexum. The taunt from Athena a little bit late to stop the Zerka's barrage. But down comes the monkey. Gnome chased out. But Gnome's still here. Stunned from Neith, but it's already used. One more time. He's got a dream looking for the kill on Awe. Can't find it. Neither does Gnome. But either way, Barrage has been pushed and poked. And make no bones about it, Rival's going to look towards the Gold Fury.
2 members from Barrage very low, having to back to base. There's 3 members. Janus through space and time was used. Athena ultimate being used as well. They do not want to allow Team Rival to do this Gold Fury underneath their noses.
Well played. Well played. Just the quick response to understand that, yes, you guys totally won the fight and gave yourself an opportunity to go for the Gold Fury, but we're going to respond in kind. And you know what? Surprise! Rival actually steals it away from Barrage. Barrage tries to be cheeky. Rival says, no way. Headhunter picks up the kill already. A smart mez after the CC immunity runs out for Watson, separates Headhunter from his aggressor, and it's 5 kills to 2. And Rival also evened the game up by swiping away the goal.
It's one of the greatest feelings as a hunter whenever you steal the Gold Fury with your ability. He used this so beautiful just to get the kill. Now, just to get the objective, he landed yet again a triple ultimate under the tier 2 tower, which allowed them to win that teamfight. Neith actually in a lot of trouble.
Interrupted the backflip twice.
Yep.
Knock up one time, Mez the second time. Either way, no escape. Don't need an Ares to stop the escape. Jeron falls down for the first time this game. But, as you said, big play coming out from the guys on Rival to steal the Gold Fury. Headhunter doing his best hi-rez impression. And Hydra doing his best Hydra impression. This guy's doing it all by himself. 3-0-2. And Watson shows up. Hello, Bakasura.
It's always important whenever you lose somebody to see whatever you can get in return. In this situation, the Bakasura recognized that the Chronos was out of position a little bit, got the kill, and now as a result, Rival can't push the tier 1 mid tower. However, they did take advantage of the Neith death earlier by pushing the tier 1 in the dual lane.
Bunch of minions going to find their way onto the mid tower over here as Lycan goes ahead and cleans it up. Bakasura finds himself in the solo lane, but he's not solo for long. Gnome shows up.
So Bakasura is going for Fatalis here, whereas the Vamana is more leaning towards the Wingblade, trying to get away from the slow that the Bakasura is going to be doing with the ultimate.
And with that Ichabod that Bakasura comes out with, Bakasura works a lot like Freya in the sense that he scales better off of attack speed than raw power or anything like that because of the nature of Butcher Blades. It just provides flat true damage and it's an amount of time. So you're trying to get as many basic attacks off in that small amount of time.
And that's why it's not a bad idea to go Merguardian male in certain situations as a soul laner.
Yep.
Even if you do want to dive the backline and go on a hunter, it's not a bad idea just to stick on the enemy assassin Bakasura here. And if he uses his ultimate in a big AoE cone, he's going to get slowed by the Merguardian male passive as well.
Exactly. You know, you're definitely understanding where those items fall into place and try to trick your enemy into debuffing themselves, really. You know, it's kind of the soul lane's job overall, is just trying to trick your opponent into falling into a trap.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of mind games going on in the soul lane specifically. Like
What's your favorite example of one? We see the teleport gimmick all the time. What's your favorite solo lane mind game?
So long time ago when Chang'e and Habwa used to be a thing in the solo lane.
Yep.
Was when you, as Chang'e, would have to bait out the Habwa water spout, and that's how you would win the matchup, because otherwise you would get poked out early. But if you baited out and you danced around the Habwa water spout, whether you used your immunity or whether you just juked it in one way or another, that's how you would win. And that's a little bit of the mind game, just baiting out abilities, trying to juke it, going to the archers, and then backing off at the last second before water sprout.
To bring that more to modern spot, you see that a lot with Fearless, trying to juke the Fearless, force the tier to use it on you instead of the lane, right? And that sometimes winds up in the right spot. Team Rival is certainly in the right spot. They took out a tier 1 relatively simply, and this one a little bit more complicated. 3 members show up to take out Watson, and with the 4th Zenborne here, looks like another tier 1 going to go down as well. So Rival is clearly, they're going to go for the tier 1s across the board, and then because they'll find them a little bit easier. A single pick can lead to a tier 1. The tier 2s, you're probably going to need to see more of a group up.
And we have Apollo in the middle lane, able to get the tier 1 mid tower as well. Still putting pressure on the tier 2 tower. Rival looking to play aggressive in the tier 2, trying to get the Janus, does successfully get the kill. Lurking in the waters from Sobek.
And on the backside, down comes Apollo. He's going to separate himself from the rest of the squad, looking for the kill. Mez stops Athena in her tracks, but walks right into the Hunter. Is Lycan, and Hydra gets credit for that one. Headhunter going for the kills onto the tower. That's the tier 2. And like I said, the first couple of tier 1s, little bit, maybe 2-3 players here. In order to accomplish the tier 2 tower, the whole team groups up. That's going to net them 1,500 extra gold to accrue 5,000 gold in total for the lead, 6,400 with respects to the experience as well. So Team Rival definitely put themselves in a position to go ahead and make a stance to win early on at 16.5.
They're not scared about making these plays under the tier 2 tower. They got a kill earlier on, got the tier 1 tower. They pushed their advantage, diving the tier 2 tower, trade 2 for 1 in their favor, and get the tier 2 tower. This is how a team needs to play objectively, slowly whittling away at the enemy. And if you have the advantage like Rival does, you have to keep on going.
Absolutely love the build that Jeron has right now. The Transcendence boots into the Jotuns. Having the Jotun's Wrath on Neith, who is largely an ability-based hunter anyway, you're just going to see more, obviously more abilities, but most importantly, more ultimates. Jeron, right now the team's a little bit far behind. It's not a great team fight ultimate when you're in the midst of everything, but he might not always be guaranteed there, especially with the global rotation coming out of Headhunter. Having that ultimate, that World Weaver available all of the time is a very, very good look. And then what's interesting here, it also provides some penetration. As it goes on, you'll see more regular maces built, whether it's Beat Stick Crusher or Titan's Bane, and that'll just give you raw power, raw penetration, and you'll see late game transition into maybe an Odibo or a Chinsai, and then that power and penetration comes into the basics.
Rival starting up Gold Fury, gonna actually reset it. Look for a fight through space and time was used on Sable Vortex, is gonna force the reset. Now Neith's gonna backflip away from the trouble as Thor takes the sky.
Hydra looking for a target. Jeron trying to run away. 40%, make that 25. Thor lands, make that 0. Hydra off screen as Watson tries to escape. Elexum tries to get away out of trouble, keeping himself at a safe distance on the right side, but keep an eye in the middle. Hydra forced out by the monkey. Athena coming down more for offense than defense, but it might have turned around as down comes the big Vamana. Baby smacks the monkey, and Atonement also finds a kill onto Awe. Atonement also finds a kill onto Elexum. Double un for the mid lane Chronos. The only one alive is Watson, and just barely. Zenborne giving chase. Not going to find a kill himself, likely. And with everybody out of the area, Watson will be relatively healthy. But that was a 4-for-1 trade going in favor of Team Rival.
Actually, it might be a 5-for-1 if Thor can find the right stun and the right angle, forcing the purification. And it is indeed going to be an unofficial deicide as the Neith just barely reviving before the official announcer pack.
And I love how that works out here. Everybody is chasing this kill, which sometimes can be a bad plan. Vamana knows exactly what that, he doesn't need to be there for the kill. The Sobek and all the damage dealers can go deal with it. As the solo laner, I'll just take out the tier 2. That's 1,500. And then once Watson dies, he's chased, he brought the enemy to his mid tower. A lot of times when people are running that cue the Benny Hill music, you usually see them run towards the enemy towers or the enemy ways. Watson brings the opponent right to his own tower, so Rival's able to pivot and look for the objective.
Yeah, Rival with an experienced lead. They're not afraid to keep on putting the pressure. Athena's going to chase the Chronos in the backline. The Sanctuary was used off screen. Evil Gnome able to take away Jeron there as the Janus portals through.
Yeah, Elexum finds himself safe. Ay, looking for the kill onto Atonement. Might trade his own life for it.
Gonna force the Sanctuary,
Yeah, there
the
it is.
Umbrella Rain, connecting only on one side as the Janus barely escapes. However, Headhunter catching another head onto Elexum.
Headhunter has been extremely aggressive this game. Just always ulting on the back line, finding the enemy. Always going to try and find a way out, but Headhunter again says no. That's 2 kills in very quick succession. 4, 2, and 7 for the Hunter. 18 for Team Rival. Only 5 on Barrage. No deaths for Vamana, no deaths on Thor, and only a single one on Chronos. They'll combine their kills with their Gold Furies and 5 digits. That's 11.3K. In the lead is Team Rival.
And more important is the experience lead. They're 14,000 experience ahead. That's a huge gap. You look at the mid lane, 4 levels ahead for the Chronos.
That's
2
scary.
levels for the Thor, 3 for the Vamana. Everyone is ahead on Team Rival. And if you're Barrage here in this situation, you have to be so careful about your positioning. The Thor is a huge factor that you have to worry about with his global pressure. The Apollo damage is too much right now for you to deal with. You have to passively ward and get ready for the next objective, which is going to be Fire Giant.
The Thor picked up the Witchblade, which is an item that has suffered a little bit, but it's really fantastic when it comes to dealing with the Bakasura. And so far, Baka has been mitigated pretty well. Honestly, less because of the Witchblade and more just because of the positioning that we're seeing out of the opponent. Bakasura is looking to get right in backline and try to find those basics, but why is he unable to really secure those?
The rest of his team is not setting up each other as well as they could have. The Athena tries to find the taunts, the Neith follow-up, but there's just too much pressure from the Thor to allow anyone for Barrage to do anything. They get instantly stunned. The follow-up from the Chronos, the hammer is a lot of damage as well. Vamana is just doing Vamana things, forcing an early sprint in this engagement.
Yeah, the slow onto Watson was just too scary for the Athena to deal with. Knowing that you can't peel everybody onto that Bakasura, hits the sprint to shed the slow, and that's enough to allow Team Rival to go ahead and start the Fire Giant. Keep your eyes on the monkey, though. Batz, of course, brings tons of displacement. He's sniffed out by Zenborne, and the Fire Giant falls very quickly.
The Janus actually was pushing the dual lane, getting the tier, or almost getting the tier 1 towers. The Vamana teleports in. However, he threw the through space in time, almost stealing, guys. We do have Headhunter gonna come landing in.
There's the Bakasura trying to find the kill. The knockup from Zenborne to separate him from the backline. The shell from Zenborne to stop the damage that Watson's able to deal. Zenborne is making sure no one can touch his team. Jeron, on the other hand, is able to find the kill because Zenborne's somewhere else.
Yeah, Bakasura was running away. Athena ulti on top of him to make sure he escapes. Then Neith's going to take the portal to make sure she escapes under safety. They're still looking for the Bakasura earlier, but now they're finally going to concede that chase and look maybe towards the Athena.
Now, this is a treat. You know, you said that you haven't watched too much of the SCL. The European SCL is all just gets, well, he finds a way to dash, but with the stun, that's likely the end of Athena. The portal, okay.
Janus is pretty good, I heard.
Nope.
Not good enough from the 380 base movement speed of Vamana.
There's the pull, there's the portal. Now, watching European SCL, as we get more, especially with the league, it'll be a little bit more solidified. Zenborne's Sobek is actually a really big treat to watch. He never takes his foot off the gas. Ever. He's just always looking for these plucks, looking for these tail whips, and it winds up putting his team in a position to really do exactly what they're doing right now.
And that's what you have to do. They're trying to hold their Phoenix Barrage, but they can't really do anything. They have to use the Janus ult defensively just to escape from the big baby. Thor's up in the sky. Neith channeling World Weaver. Chronos ultimate being forced.
And look, all the way on the backside, Hydra gets a little bit aggressive, and he's going to pay for his transgressions. The Phoenix does ultimately... it's still alive, actually.
And the reason why it's alive is because Apollo's all the way in the dual lane trying to push that wave instead of the mid lane where there's clearly an easy objective. He's in the skies, though. He's about to come landing in.
And he's going to fall down right in between two. Mez is strong, and Elexum gets just chunked. Big hits from Apollo and a combination of some other players. And taken out, Lycan able to turn on Atonement. So Team Rival get a little bit ahead of themselves. I think the game plan was Chronos is incredibly adept at killing towers. So the idea was have Apollo go ahead and split push up the left side, and Chronos will be able to take care of the tower by himself. But Barrage just didn't allow that to happen.
Unfortunately for the Apollo, he died earlier on in that engagement, lost his Fire Giant hit. When he respawned, instead of electing to just go middle, he decided maybe my team is going to wait for me a little bit. I'll push the wave. That way we could push 2 Phoenixes on at the same time. However, you do have a timer on Fire Giant, and you have to make sure these things are according to time. Now, there's only 2 remaining members on Rival with Fire Giant, so they have to be careful when that's going to respawn because they don't have that much strength now with that buff.
Shouts to the split push Janus, the second time we've seen it this contest. 20-8 read the kills. So realistically, Elexum pushing up with the Janus. Is that the reason why he's doing it? Because he can escape easily with a portal?
Yeah, you have a lot of escapes in your arsenal. You have the purification, you have the CC immunity that can get you through 4, 5, 6 different walls, which also increases your movement speed as you stack that passive. The threshold gives you 1 stack, going through a portal gives you a second, so that's an exorbitant amount of movement speed for the Janus.
So just the ability to escape allows him to, I mean, he's not going to take down the tower very quickly, but by the time anybody responds, he's able to really get a dodge. On the other hand, Apollo, certainly a different story, able to split push to his heart's content, and because of that, Team Rival has been able to accrue a 10,000 gold lead, split push or otherwise. Apollo's been a big part of why these towers are falling, but he's in some trouble now. Bakasura and Neith combined for a large chunk of damage, and he lifesteal. It's there, but he can't find the hits, and Watson able to shorten the distance with no HP. Fantastic turnaround from the assassin out of the solo lane, but is it too little, too late? The rest of the squad is fighting underneath the Phoenix. Still very, well, it was healthy, now not so much. Atonement able to find a kill, and then find the smash onto the Phoenix. 2 out of 3 Phoenixes for Team Rival are down. With that said, one more time, Rival answer back correctly, and they're able to find, or Barrage answer back correctly, and they're able to find a kill on the Headhunter.
Not having the Bakasura damage in that teamfight was very crucial. Now, granted, they didn't have the Apollo damage, was Team Rival for that Phoenix push, but it didn't matter because the rest of Barrage just wasn't really quite there. They lost the teamfight, they lost the Phoenix, and now Rival have a 4v2 power play with Fire Giant close to respawning.
They're looking for it. I'm looking for it, but right now, Rival, they're catching their breath a little bit. Every single time Rival, well, it's only been twice here, totally, but every single time of those 2 times that Rival find themselves at the front door of Barrage, Barrage have been able to withstand, or at least give a nice answer back. The Phoenixes do eventually die in both instances, but they're able to get a couple of kills in the defensive process.
They're definitely surprising Rival with the amount of burst damage that they have. They caught the Apollo in both instances. First time was in mid lane, the other time was in dual lane. But if they're going to want to come back into this game, they cannot afford to lose these Phoenixes, and they need to be able to somehow steal this Fire Giant or kill a few people before the Phoenix Siege begins.
There's a taunt, selecting one. And the root onto Gnome. He doesn't care. He's going right towards the enemy with that dash, knocking up. And Jeron doesn't have the jump available. There comes Zenborne fighting some other tail whips. And you hear the Baka. And it's dealing what it can, but Hydra's able to clean up Jeron. All's going to try and go back to base in front of the enemy, but not a smart move. Rival, they're going to find Elexum. 3 members alive for Barrage. Middle Phoenix respawn, but that's just a moment of time until Chronos cleans it all up. That's Lycan down as well. Only 2 members remain with Barrage tags on them. The Titans being attacked, and the Titans falling to the ground. Team Rival, with over 10,000 gold, find the victory above Barrage.
I like the way the Thor played the game with his tectonic rips all the way across the map. In the mid lane, when he chased the Bakasura down, when Vamana was split pushing on left, the rest of Rival was pushing in middle. They found that last 5th kill for the unofficial Dia side.
And that was a big part of what was allowing them to go ahead and find the kills that resulted in the towers, in the Phoenixes, just able to really mitigate whatever Bakasura was bringing. So many times we've seen Baka get ahead and just tear through the opposition. Not allowed, says